Om Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to another Yoga Small Talk, and we continue with 7 minutes Bhagavad Gita a day. We are reading from chapter 4, and we started discussing verse 37. So let's see this verse again together. 37. As the blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge reduce all actions to ashes. So here, remember we discussed in verse 36 that it comes to answer the question, can knowledge still dawn if we have a lot of negative karma accumulated? So this was one question. And here, it is like another question is answered, and the question is, what happens to all the karma when I realize? Because we said, when one realizes, there is no more birth. So what happens to all the huge reservoir of past karma? Where does it go if there is no further birth? So this verse answers the question and tells us it is burnt. And here, there is a nuance that we need to go into to understand this verse better. We were saying that there are 3 types of karma. The sanchita, which is the whole reservoir. The agami, which is what we are doing as we go along. And the prarabdha, which is the karma that is already manifested. From this, we can see that the sanchita and the agami are potentials. They have not yet ripened, they have not yet manifested. It is a potential. Whereas the prarabdha is the potential which has come into being, which has manifested. So the prarabdha is no longer a potential, it is in existence. And here, when we talk about knowledge, it is said that when knowledge dawns, all those potentials, there will not be any more agami, we will explain in a minute, but all this huge potential that's called sanchita is burnt. As to the prarabdha, which is no longer a potential, there is a bit of a controversy. Some say the prarabdha does not get burnt. Others say also the prarabdha gets burnt, meaning also the prarabdha will have no effect anymore. So let us read a little bit of the commentary on that. Swami Shivananda tells us, when there is no agency mentality, the idea of I do this. Remember when we talked about what is really action and what is really inaction? When I do not have the agency, when I don't think I am the doer, there will not be any karma accumulated because it doesn't have anyone to attach itself to. It is not an action, so it is not a karma. Swami Shivananda tells us when the idea I do this does not exist, where there is no desire for the fruits because I'm not the doer, therefore the fruits are not mine. Action is no action at all, meaning there will be no karma. It has lost its potency. The fire of knowledge can burn all actions, meaning all karmas, except the prarabdha karma, or the result of the past action which has brought this body into existence and which has thus already begun to bear fruits or produce effect, meaning the prarabdha is no longer a potential and therefore it is not burnt. However, Swami Shivananda himself is bringing another view. He's telling us, according to some philosophers, even the prarabdha karma is destroyed by the fire of knowledge. Sri Shankara, Adi Shankaracharya, says in his Aparoksha Nubhuti, in the passage, his actions are destroyed when the Supreme is realized, The Veda expressly speaks of actions, karmas, in plural, in order to signify the destruction of even the prarabdha. And Swami Shivananda explains to us that in Sanskrit there is one word used for two and one word used for more than two. So the word that is used here is for more than two. Therefore, all karmas are burnt. So this is the controversy. But in reality, when a person is no longer associating himself with the body, although the body might go through a lot of things, the person is not suffering in the way that we are suffering, because he's no longer associating with the body. Also, let's say that in past life this person offended other people, and now people will offend him. But his mind is completely tranquil. He's not associating himself with the body and the mind. So who is offended? It is like the karma has nothing to have an effect on. So even in the case that the prarabdha karma does manifest and all those offenses come, they do not affect the sage, who is of equal mind in censorship and in praise. We read this in chapter 2. So even if we say, okay, prarabdha karma is no longer a potential and therefore is not burnt at the time of the realization, it's really not in the same way that the prarabdha karma affects us. So that's another point to understand, and there are a few more points to understand about this teaching, which we will discuss in the next video. So please join us. Om Shanti.